Good afternoon. Call the meeting to order and welcome you all to the monthly meeting of the Wicomico Board of Education. As always, the meeting is being taped and live streamed. And so we'll begin the meeting with the pledge to the flag, and we'll be led by Adeline Calloway.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Wow, that was a great job, Adeline. This is Adeline Calloway. As Mr. Malone indicated, she's a second grader at Willards Elementary School. Thank you so much. You did an amazing job. Thank you for coming here today. Would you like to introduce your mom and your principal?
I have my mom, Melissa, and my principal, Miss Nicholson.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, 3.2, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. 3.3, once again, many of our colleagues have passed, and we would like to recognize those. Names are up there in pictures. Edward Evans is a retired guidance counselor teacher from Parkside, Wicomico High, and Wicomico Middle. David Gosley Sr., Wicomico Board of Education member. Mr. Gosley was just elected in November, and as I said at the public hearing for the budget, I know personally he was very proud to be a member of the school board, and we look forward to his many contributions, and unfortunately, he passed away recently. Anita Horstman's a retired secretary from Wicomico Junior. Lana Hudson, retired teacher, Northwestern Elementary. Joseph Krisowitz, retired teacher from James M. Bennett and Parkside High. Sally Lambert, retired media specialist from Wicomico High. And Dorothy Page, retired food service manager, James M. Bennett High and Wicomico High. We could all, in our own way, have a moment of silence and recognize their passing. Thank you. 3.4, one of the bright spots of our meeting always, student representatives to the Board of Education. We'll start with Tiana Staten, who's seated at our table today from Ardella High School. Tiana?
Hi, everyone. So first we're going to talk about sports. Our winter sports seasons are nearly closing, and we're all proud of our accomplishments. The wrestling team qualified for regionals for the first time in 11 years, and our track team had 3 members, Jacob Sheldon, Jaden Shelton, and Kyle Hubbard, qualify for states. 2, Jacob and Kyle, making a new school record. And our unified strength and conditioning teams came in 3rd at their regional competition. Moving on to our music departments, we held all-shore band auditions at Mardella in the end of January. We had 9 high school students make the all-shore band. Morgan McGee, Mitchell Adams, Hunter Wirt, Malik Allen, myself, Matthew Guy, Olivia Waters, and Gary Holler, and Madison Horner. For orchestra all-shore, we had 6 students qualify: Sakira Ward, Jeremiah Quinton Alexander, Kelsey Flores, Xander Hall, Alexander Bear, and Michaela Bounds. And then for All Share Chorus, we had Zoe Bradshaw, Nathan Zittle, and Ava Bear qualify. And then last week, Mr. Bolts was crowned Mardella's Teacher of the Year. This is a well-deserved honor for Mr. Bolts, who teaches all of the band classes, middle to high school, coordinates everything for our award-winning marching band, and puts together our biggest fundraiser, Bingo Mania, which we actually had last week. And on top of these duties, Mr. Bolts regularly stays after school almost every day to help students prepare for auditions or put together ensembles. All in all, I wouldn't be able to think of a more deserving teacher for this award. For our Spanish Honor Society, last Friday we went over to Northwestern Elementary School to read The Hungry Caterpillar to the younger students. The catch is that the book was in Spanish. The kids really enjoyed the lesson and learned a thing or two as well. I learned from the students a lot too, as one girl kept telling me that she had a cat. It was really interesting. And Zoe Bradshaw won second in the state for the Daughter of the American Revolution essay. She got proclamation from Jack Day, the mayor of Salisbury, and she also won $200. For Black History Month, we've made announcements of little-known Black history facts, and we've quoted famous African Americans every day to inform the school. And our SGA is working diligently to prepare for the pep rally on Thursday, our second Parents' Night Out event on March 1st. If you guys have any younger kids, you can bring them. And our Pasta for Patients fundraiser, which is going to be a pasta dinner with live music on March 22nd.
Thank you.
Oh.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I can learn from students not to interrupt you till you're finished, right? Thank you, Tiana. From James M. Bennett High School, June Lee. Not here today. Not here. Okay. Parkside High School, Sarah Runge and Ashley Stearman. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon and happy almost Valentine's Day. We are so excited to tell you about the great things happening at Parkside. We have recently reviewed our literacy plan and our climate initiative and thoroughly examined it. We have some very good results. In other news, our Teacher of the Year was announced by our very own Rami, and we are gladly happy to congratulate Ms. Harkins, our SGA advisor. She is always happy to go the extra mile with us, and Parkside is very proud of her. In sports, the winter season is coming to a close. Our indoor track team has a very impressive results from regionals last Tuesday, and they're getting ready for the upcoming outdoor track season. Our unified team has remarkable results, getting state's title with first place. That was my team. We won gold. And third and fourth place win. This is our fourth state title in a row. Also, wrestling won their regionals meet this past weekend and placed first overall, and they're heading to states in March.
The CTE Horticulture Program, run by Mr. Kelly, has recently been recognized as at the Taste of Maryland annual agriculture event. They have been awarded a grant to benefit his program. His greenhouse is blooming, and we are excited for the spring flowers to come. The robotics team placed first at their tournament in Annapolis and received second for the Motivation Award and first for team design. Also, Art Club is in full swing, selling Rami buttons, magnets, and stickers for $5, designed by the wonderful Mr. Baggs. Our students have been doing great in the arts department recently. 13 choir students have been accepted into the All-Shore Chorus, and 10 students have been accepted in All-Shore Band. Our very own Layla Liberton also performed in the All-State Choir last weekend as a tenor, which is really hard and very impressive. Also, the cast list for the All-County musical was released, and 5 of the leads are from Parkside, including myself. I'm Donna, or Meryl Streep. And we are so excited for the musical in April. Friday, across the street, there was a robbery, and our school went into safe in place. Each student got instructed to stay in their classroom, and the teachers locked the doors and continued teaching. We are extremely proud of how our school handled this stressful situation.
Thank you.
Thank you. And from Wicomico High School, Ariana Urbano Vilas.
Good afternoon. At Y High, the students have been showing their excellence in sports, academics, and the arts. First, Our winter sports continue to be very successful. Last Thursday, both of our varsity basketball teams won against Kent Island and proved their determination. It's been 5 years since we've beaten Kent Island, so we're extremely proud of our basketball team. In addition, Isaiah Taylor, former Salisbury University football team captain, wide receiver, and wide receivers coach, will be the new head coach for varsity football. We are looking forward to see what he brings for next season. On track, 29 ribbons were awarded to our athletes during last week's regional meet. The following are the names of students who qualified for states: Imoni Wangus, Caleb Mason, Caleb Gosley, Jeff Point de Jour, Stephen Titus, Brian Stevenson, Brianna Stevenson, Tamara Renalis, Kristen Barrett, Michaela Jones, Walensky Joseph, and Neil Patterson. While our winter sports season advances, spring sport tryouts are now in session. Either way, we wish all of our sports teams the best of luck. On academics, more than 500 students attended the Strive for 5 incentive with Power 101.7, earned by students who missed less than 5 days of school so far this school year. We're thankful for DJ Amber Green and Power 101.7 for providing a fun time. Along with that, 90 students have met the qualifying cumulative GPA necessary for National Honor Society and have received invites for the interest meeting. Applications are due March 1st, and the induction ceremony will be held on March 27th. The induction ceremony will recognize the newest members of National Honor Society, French Honor Society, Mu Alpha Theta, and Science National Honor Society. This week, Ms. Schock was selected as Y-High's 2019-20 Teacher of the Year. It's Ms. Schock's 22nd year teaching English and Social Studies at Y-High, and she serves as the Social Studies Department Chair. We're proud of her and her dedication to the school, her department, and her students. Moving towards music, Y-High junior Daniel Davis qualified as first shore tuba for the Eastern Shore Band Directors Association 2019 Senior All-Shore Band. For the next 3 months, students from all 4 high schools in Wicomico County will be working hard to prepare for the all-county musical Mamma Mia, directed by Mr. Johnson. The musical will be held from April 26 to April 27 in the Y-High Auditorium. We hope to see everyone there and enjoy the talent of our students. Along with that, our choir director, Mr. Harvey, was featured on the Metropolitan as Local Artist of the Month. In SGA, we're beginning to plan our winter pep rally. It will be the second year that we held 2 pep rallies during the school year. Also, we're selling bingo tickets and asking for donations for our Big Bucks Bingo. It will be held on March 16 at the Moose Lodge, and the funds go to our prom. Our Try After School program continues to draw students for extra help and enrichment activities. More than 30 students stay after school each day from Monday through Thursday. Tutoring is offering from 3 to 4, and then from 4 to 5, students have a variety of activities to choose from. Whether this be cooking, chess, philosophy, or anime, there's a niche for everyone. Lastly, we are looking forward to sharing with everyone our accomplishments over the following weeks at the next meeting. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you. Do any of my colleagues have any questions for the student reps?
Good job.
I think one of the names that were announced, I think we have a father sitting back there that heard his son's name mentioned from Y.
Well, we thank you all very much for being here each month and organizing your comments and your reports and taking the time to be here, and we look forward to seeing you again next month. Thank you. 3.5, public comments. I don't have any in front of me at this time. So 3.6, superintendent's report. Dr. Hanlon.
Good afternoon, board members. I want to start my report out this afternoon by thanking the board and the community for your very positive response to the recent State of the Schools presentation at Parkside High School held at the end of January. We are making tremendous progress in our school system, and we're going to continue to push through that momentum that's found, or that we've found through our strategic plan, Imagine 2022. Just to quickly review for those who may be watching in the community a little bit about Imagine 2022, we're focused on 3 priorities. We're going to continue our focus on increasing opportunities for access to high-quality pre-kindergarten to ensure that students enter our kindergarten classrooms ready to learn. We're also going to continue strategies that focus on increasing our graduation rate. We're looking at non-traditional pathways for students to reach that milestone, as well as expanding academies and signature programs throughout our school system so that students have opportunities, increased opportunities for relevant instructional programs that are of interest to them. And we're excited, I announced at State of the Schools, we're excited to expand career technology education by working with the developers downtown, and also very in the future, but we're moving forward with doing an education specification study for a performing arts high school in Wicomico County. So we're really excited about our future. We're also going to continue that third area is on recruiting and retaining a high-performing workforce, obviously critically important through salaries and benefits and other supports needed in the classroom. And along with that, and aligned with all three of our priorities, we're going to have a special focus this year on increased supports for students with social, emotional, and behavioral challenges in our schools, so that our school environments are conducive to learning and teachers can teach and students can learn. So an increased focus in that area. So if you haven't had an opportunity to review Imagine 2022, I would encourage you to go to our website where you'll find a link and check out the details there, where you'll clearly see what our plans are. You'll have an opportunity to see the progress that we've made towards our goals and where we're headed in the future. I also want to take a moment as part of my report to thank the community for your outpouring of support during the recent difficulties that we have faced with the devastating criminal indictment of the guidance counselor from Bennett High School. The board and I truly appreciate your support, the support of the community and the strength of the James M. Bennett community in the face of these difficult circumstances. There are clear legal restrictions on communication pertaining to personnel matters, and I'm steadfast in this, will not violate the law, and just as importantly, I will not interfere with the ongoing investigation of these matters. I know that the community wants answers, so do we. We want resolution to the situation just as badly as students and staff and parents do. And together, we wait for the outcome of the investigation by law enforcement and that of the state's attorney's office. What we can do is to assure the community of what we are doing. We're providing full staffing with highly competent people at James M. Bennett during this investigatory period. Mrs. Erin Nathan, assistant principal, is the administrator in charge, and we have a full administrative team in place in addition to Mrs. Nathan. Additionally, numerous central office administrators and recently retired administrators who are certified and experienced are currently also scheduled at the school during this period of time. The assistant superintendent, Dr. Briggs, former James M. Bennett principal, and the current director of secondary education and former Parkside principal, Mr. Michael Stauffer, are both at the school on a regular basis. Additional recently retired guidance counselors have returned. They've been hired contractually and are also there to assist students on a daily basis. Once this investigation has been completed and all of the facts are known, then we will be able to make appropriate decisions moving forward. I can also assure you that all proper safety protocols are in place at James M. Bennett. Any inappropriate behavior by students will continue to be investigated and handled according to our code of conduct, as it has been in the past and is now and will continue to be. We acknowledge the incredible resilience of the James M. Bennett staff, who are working together to ensure student safety, that their needs are met, and that high-quality instruction continues. And all of us want to just let the community know how much we appreciate your patience and your support during this difficult time. Moving on to more positive things. I am going to turn it over to Mr. Butler for our Extra Mile Awards.
Okay, it's that time of the month to recognize some very important folks who've done great work for Wicomico County Public Schools. We call it our Extra Mile Award. These are for the month of January. We will begin with a lady who always has a smile on her face. Her name is Patricia Atkins. A few summers ago, Ms. Atkins stepped up and volunteered to lead a committee to look at the recruitment initiatives for Wicomico County Public Schools. Under her leadership, WCPS has begun an annual teacher recruitment fair, and in the spring of 2018, the fair was attended by over 100 potential teacher candidates. In addition, she has formed a strong recruitment committee to look not only at where we recruit, but how we recruit. Also, Ms. Atkins' recruitment efforts include setting up a speaking engagement to the Chamber of Commerce, raising more than $6,000 of private money to supplement our recruitment efforts, and has taken on the very demanding task of scheduling recruiters, getting supplies, and revamping our recruitment approach. All this work has been done in addition to her regular duties as an instructional supervisor for the Birth to Five program. She has truly gone the extra mile and deserves to be recognized for her efforts for January's Extra Mile Award. So, Miss Atkins, will you come down? And Miss Bonnie Walston, come on down and get your picture taken with her. Vince, would you like to get in?
Party favor. We'll buy the base later.
All right, we'll take a couple of them here. Everybody smile. One more. All right. Thank you, Patty. Big hand to Patty Atkins. Our next Extra Mile Award winner is Mr. Ted Ramey from Mardella Middle and High School. Ted is the ISS instructor at Mardella. He has been instrumental in the emotional recovery of several of their students and staff that they had to deal with crisis. Recently, when one of Mardella's students was diagnosed with Crohn's disease and in the hospital for several weeks and fighting the stress of the illness, Mr. Ramey contacted the Chicago Bears and got them to send the student a care package to help uplift him during the recovery process. Inside the care package, including a personal letter from the Bears, an autographed hat from the Bears quarterback Mitchell Trubisky. Also, when one of their teachers' daughters fell down some steps and was confined to a hospital bed in serious condition, Mr. Ramey took the time to contact the right people in the Disney organization to get the family a care package. Now, Ted not only does his job as an instructional assistant, but he also shows concern and passion for others during times of need. And for that, we'd like to award Ted Ramey as the Extra Mile Award winner for the month of January. Mr. Ramey, come on down. And he is accompanied by his principal, Liza Hastings. All right, give Mr. Ramey a hand.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. And the last segment of my report is our grants report for the month. And for this month, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Briggs.
Thank you. This month's grant presentation is going to be a little bit different than normal. Courtney Jones, our grant specialist, is unable to be with us today, but we have two special guests who will be sharing some information with you in just a few moments. As they make their way down to the table, that's your cue. I wanted to share that Courtney's grant report for the month of January is available in board docs and shows that during the past month we received funding for 3 grants, one each from the Maryland State Department of Education, the Salisbury Wicomico Arts Council, and the Rotary Club of Salisbury, totaling just over $4,000. At this time, I'd like to introduce our two special guests with us this afternoon. We have Kristen Briggs, who is an elementary TAD teacher who serves a number of our schools, and Rebecca Matthews, biology teacher at Wicomico High School. They are both going to be sharing about how they were able to utilize the generous grant funding provided by the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore to support our students here in Wicomico County. And just to give you guys a little bit of data before they go ahead, for the 2018-2019 school year, the Community Foundation has provided 14 total grants for almost $40,000. And since 2010, we've received almost $250,000 from the Community Foundation to support about 100 of our various programs. So thank you to the Community Foundation. Ladies, it's all yours. Whoever wants to go first.
Good afternoon. I'm Kristen Briggs. I'm one of 4 elementary TAD teachers, which stands for Thinking and Doing, that serves all of our elementary gifted and talented students in Wicomico County. Our current unit, Historical Documentaries, Preserving the Past for Future Generations, enriches students' understanding of history. Students learn to understand their historical roots and develop historical perspectives by reconstructing the past through the study of a primary source. They locate veterans in the community. They develop a survey to ascertain general information about the veteran's service to our country, and then use this survey as a catalyst to begin researching and developing specific questions for an in-depth interview of the veteran and his or her experiences. The interviews are filmed and become the foundation for creating a historical photo documentary that focuses on the personal experiences of the individuals while incorporating the historical backgrounds of events in which the veterans participated. Students create this published book that serves as a treasured resource for our community, students, and most importantly, the veteran and his or her family. Meeting veterans and hearing of their experiences firsthand brings history alive and not only gives students an appreciation of the personal sacrifices of the men and women who serve our country, but also helps them recognize the importance of historical documentaries as an invaluable way to archive our nation's history. This project would not be possible without the gracious funds from the Community Foundation grants. This funding ensures that every veteran will receive a copy of their photo documentary. This grant has also funded an additional 2 laptops to the elementary TAD program to guarantee that we have technology to support our endeavors. These gifts to our program are precious resources that ensure that we can fully appreciate our veterans' sacrifices and experiences. We appreciate the Community Foundation once again for supporting our efforts as they have in the past. The books that are being shared with you are the final compilations of the efforts of our students in years past. This year, our interviews will begin in a few short weeks, and students will again be hard at work creating these invaluable books. What you cannot see by looking at these books is the special bond that the relationships the veterans and the students experience. It's an amazing thing to watch an older generation share their stories and experiences with the young. We would like to thank the Board of Education for your continued support of the TAB program and our endeavors. Thank you.
Hi. Let me just, where do I click? Thank you. Gotcha. Okay. I am fairly new to the county. I started here about 5 years ago from a very different background. I will be perfectly honest. Every kid I ever taught before went to college. I spent 6 years at a college prep boarding school, and but the most amazing kids I've ever taught in my entire life are my Y-High students. And so one of the things in meeting these kids and finding out what they dream about or what they think they should dream about is this college experience. And so I started in the fall of 2017 taking kids on college trips. The first 2 were one-day trips. We went to Philadelphia, had 4 official tours, and landed on 2 other campuses. And then in the fall of 2000, so that was actually the fall of 2016. The fall of 2017, we went to D.C., again, for a couple official tours, went on some other campuses just to see what was going on.
Part of this is inspired through a program called QuestBridge, which Wicomico High School students have been fortunate to become part of. QuestBridge is a national program that focuses on low-income students gaining access to our country's most prestigious institutions, the institutions that have the money to support these kids 100% for all 4 years that they're there. Students that become QuestBridge finalists can apply to up to 39 different partner institutions for free. If they match at those schools, they are supported for 4 years with 0 loans for the entire time they are in college. But I need to get these kids to these campuses to see what it looks like and what it feels like. Some statistics that are out there, Yale University is one of these institutions. 40% of the this year's freshman class, and my numbers are swirling in my head, but 40% of those students were first-generation college students. So these campuses not only are committed to getting them there, but supporting them while they are there. After doing one-day trips, I put together a proposal for the Community Foundation to support 12 students in a 3-day endeavor in Philadelphia that has a significant proportion of QuestBridge schools. We went to 3. We started at the University of Pennsylvania, and as you can see, we traveled around campus. In 20 years of teaching, this is the highlight of my career, was this trip. The students were incredibly engaged. We ended up going back the next morning. The students voted to wake up an hour and a half earlier, to go back the next morning and land themselves in calculus for engineers at 8 a.m. The most exciting thing, and calculus teachers have their own language about things, and so this was not me telling them, oh, go ask him a question. This was as soon as class was over, the students flooding and asking the professor to explain some things. The funniest thing was a student came over and said, oh, I haven't seen you before. And I was like, I'm about 20 years late for class, but hey, thank you so much for noticing. It was incredibly exciting, and they were thrilled to understand some stuff for calculus for engineers. We did also visit Drexel University, not a QuestBridge school, but a school that one of our students has already received an incredible merit scholarship from. A different take, Drexel has some really unique programs. They actually incorporate work throughout almost all of their majors, so it's, again, a very different approach, but some of our kids really took to that. On the next day, we went to Villanova, and despite the rain, had a fabulous time and got to see, again, this vast difference in college campuses. I believe that you can't know where you want to go until you see a little bit of it. We went to Haverford College, and the student in the middle picture on the left is Steve Lee. He was our first QuestBridge finalist. He matched to go to Haverford. He is now a junior. The child in the middle is actually a former student from my previous school who also came to see with us. Interesting tie is Leanne is Steve's TA for biology class. So pretty interesting. The nice thing about this, so kids, we'd been at UPenn, which is much bigger, and Villanova, which is different, and Haverford has less than 2,000 students. And I had one student that I really had to keep track of because he was going to stay. He loved it. I had another student that said, this is ridiculous. This is camp. This isn't college. I like this part. And that's the magic of taking students to these places so that they can really see what's out there and what they like. That night, we went to dinner at Nifty 50s, which I happened to go to college in this area, and this was a college place for me. And again, the most intriguing thing, and you would have thought I took them to the fanciest place in the entire world. It has milkshakes and burgers, and it was so much fun. In the morning, we woke up bright and early and went to Princeton University, where our tour was actually with a James M. Bennett graduate, who was wonderful and could really speak to that transition, again, that Steve could say, from coming from Delmarva and going to Princeton. Again, really polarizing campus. Kids loved it, kids hated it. I think you can hate something to figure out what you love as well. And then our final stop was Swarthmore College. That is my alma mater, and I think a wonderful place. Some people speak to it, some people do not. Gia Bautista, who was playing the piano, was a finalist for the McCabe Scholarship, which recognizes Delmarva students from the Delmarva Peninsula specifically. She went and she interviewed, and she was chosen as an alternate. I'm a little angry, but it's okay. She's amazing. And so this is all of these students. I am incredibly grateful for the Community Foundation for providing these students this opportunity. On our way home on Saturday, after spending 3 days together, they say, "Mrs. Matthews, where are we going next?" I said, "Give me some time to recuperate." It is an incredible thing to go with engaged, intrigued students. Some exciting things have already happened for these students. Millicent was accepted at Villanova University and received the St. Augustine scholarship. She also was accepted at Georgetown, which we went to last year. For most of these students, the colleges they've been to have been on trips that the school has provided, and it has made them dream. And the biggest thing is students that have achieved incredible things in high school are being rewarded by institutions that have incredible endowments, and part of that comes from this movement of no loans. Our kids are facing incredible debt when they graduate from college, and to be able to apply to institutions that will meet their estimated family contribution with entire grants and merit-based scholarships is a tremendous gift. And I think it's something that I continue to push for. When I was asked why I was going to Philadelphia by the Community Foundation, that is why. It's not that we don't have amazing institutions in Maryland. It is the commitment of these colleges to support students, particularly students from low-income backgrounds, that sets them apart and makes it exciting. And we will see where they all land. I promised the Community Foundation I would send them a picture of all their college flags of where they go. This is the 12 students. 1 was a sophomore, 6 were juniors, and 5 were seniors. They had to apply in order to go and be appropriate for the colleges we were going to look at.
Thank you, Kristen and Rebecca. And board members, I think it's important that you hear from the teachers to see the benefits of the Community Foundation and what they provide. Mr. Palmer, I think it was actually your question that sparked this, and I think it's probably a good idea for future board meetings, as opposed to just hearing the numbers that are coming in, to hear some of the stories that pay off because of those numbers. So thank you to both of these teachers for. Yep, you most certainly.
What Maryland colleges cooperate with this program?
None. Sorry. The highest percentage of Questbridge schools are in Boston and California, but there are schools across the country. There's 39. There aren't any in Maryland, but there are some through Midwest all the way to California, and some in the South as well. All different kinds of institutions, from technical colleges like MIT and Caltech to state schools to the really small liberal arts colleges. It's a unique program.
Then the Philadelphia ones would be the closest ones to us.
The Philadelphia ones were the closest ones to us, yes.
Thank you. I was wondering why you had gone there. You answered my question.
Yes.
Mr. Briggs, it will be an honor on the 27th of this month to participate with the TAD students in North Salisbury, to let them hear my insight of my year in Vietnam.
I know they're doing some research right now, so they're crafting those good questions for you, so be ready.
We're looking forward to it.
I got a lot I'm going to bring.
Are all those students from Y High?
They are.
What's the possibility of duplicating that in all the other high schools? I think it's a fantastic program.
It is possible. So after I took the first day trip to Philadelphia, I did present at a professional development day about the trip. It's a personal commitment to be willing to go on these trips. Mr. Satchel was willing to go with me. He was a guidance counselor for Wicomico High School. So we rented 2 minivans. I think that 12 students is a good number to be fully engaged and to be really part of the information sessions and the things that happen. I'm already looking for, the problem with community foundation grants is you can't write a grant for the same thing again. And so finding another grant source in order to duplicate this and to go forward, I am absolutely 100% committed to do it and would work with other schools in finding it. I encourage schools to encourage their students to apply to Questbridge. We had 4 finalists this year at Wicomico High School, which is an amazing feat. Questbridge not only helps these students get into the colleges, but they have support systems while they're there, because being a low-income student and going to Princeton, there's a disconnect there. So are we supporting these students? And they are. These students are not only getting there, but they're graduating from these institutions. And there's a growing network of internships and job placements from the Questbridge group that continues to grow. Questbridge was founded by a married couple who happened to go to Stanford. One is a physician, one is a lawyer, and they have this passion truly for helping students, because no matter how bright you are, when you come from a low-income background, statistically you're least likely to apply to these institutions, even if you have the credentials to go.
Have you been able to present this to any of our state delegates?
I have not, but certainly that's a good idea. Y-High's SGA and NHS went and met with Carl Anderton last year at the State House, so that's, thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to talk with Carl and
Okay.
a few others. All right, thank you. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much.
you.
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hanlon.
You're welcome.
4.1, approval of the minutes. We have minutes that hopefully you've had time to review from December 18th work session, January 8th regular meeting, January 11th special meeting, January 22nd work session, and January 22nd special meeting. Hopefully you've had time to review them, and I'd entertain a motion to approve them.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next, item 5 and 5.1 through 5.5 would be our consent items. All of us have had time to review those. If there aren't any questions, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent items.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent items. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. 6.1 is the presenters for high school commencement. This is just for information, right? But I'll read the names of those of us that are presenting at the various commencements. Evening high school on May 30th would be Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. Palmer, and Mr. Malone. May 31st, Wicomico High, Mr. Malone and Mr. Murray. June 1st, 10 a.m., James M. Bennett High, Mr. Fitzgerald and Ms. Suthowski. June 1st, Mardella High. In the afternoon, 2:30, Mr. Brown, Mr. Murray. And then in the evening, June 1st, 7 p.m., Parkside High, Mr. Fitzgerald and Ms. Suthowski. So that's everyone's in agreement with that? Be there, be on time, right? Okay. 6.2, personnel matters, is for a matter of information. So we'll go to 7.1, which is board members' reports. So I'll start to my right this time with Mr. Palmer.
Thank you, Gene. Very kind.
You're welcome.
That presentation that we just seen, I had asked for something like that because a lot of times items will come up before us, and I don't quite understand what's involved in it. So Dr. Hanlon went out, and she's getting a list of them together so that they can present to us so that we can understand what's going on. That last presentation was fantastic. I mean, I was totally unaware that this was going on. And I'm glad that I now know, and I'm glad that the community knows and everybody who's watching it. And I really look forward to these in the future. There's another program going on, and Dr. Hanman, what was the name of the book project? I know it's going to skip everybody's name.
The one from Salisbury University, where we were writing.
Megan,
right.
yeah.
That I have that in my I have that in my remarks also.
Okay, I got the books.
Mine are home.
Oh, okay. And
what you're writing in, I'm sorry,
yeah,
I was thinking about something totally different.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a program where it encourages reading, and I am behind reading. You have to know how to read to do anything in this world. So this program is for, I think these are in the third graders, and these are books that they're going to be reading, and what we get to do is not only read them, but we get to put comments on the inside to the student and sign them as a board member to encourage them to continue to read and to learn how to read. And that's great. And as I was telling the student who was just next to me, I said, just think, the battery never wears out. If it gets wet, you just spread the pages and it dries out. So it's good for a long time. And she kind of laughed at that. So I think this is a great program, and I'm looking forward to writing words of encouragement. And I offer anybody, let's get involved in this and push it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Mr. Murray, you want me to come back to you? I would be most happy to accommodate you. We'll go to Mr. Fitzgerald, but before we do that, I would be remiss in not welcoming him back and stating the reason I'm pinch hitting for him is his voice isn't quite 100%, but I'm quite sure he will have words of wisdom for us under his board report, and we're very glad to have you with us.
Well, thank you. I'm not used to going in the middle here. I'm used to going last. I got a few things. First, with the sudden loss of Mr. Gosley, I know his passion was to serve on this board. He did for a short period of time. I had the opportunity to go to his service, and it was very nice service, but it was mentioned more than once about his mission to be on the school board. So even though he was only here a short part of time, I think some of the things he brought to the table we will not forget. So please keep his family in your prayers. Dr. Hanna talked about it a little bit, is negative comments. This board, this school system in the last month has been hurt. But we cannot let that drag us down. We got too much, too many good people, good students in our community, in our system, that I will not let them take us down. So be positive. Say something positive to somebody. Thank somebody. Because that's what we need. And to Dr. Hammond, I pray for you every night. Because I know that has worked on you more than anything, like it's worked on me. If we didn't love this system, we wouldn't take it to heart. And all of us sitting in here today take it to heart. We can't change anything. We're going to go forward. We're going to be positive. So again, thank you for your leadership. And we're going to keep on going. On a positive note, Rock and Roll Revival at James M. Bennett. If you haven't got your tickets, you only got a few days left. Please have the opportunity to go see them. And to me, Thanks for all the prayers. Today is the first day off OS rest. I'm not 100%, but we're going to get there. With positive comments and the good Lord working in my favor, we will make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgerald. Ms. Zowski?
I have had a great month representing the Wicomico County Board of Education. First of all, I read Crossover, which is the book to be read by all middle school students in Wicomico County. I was so impressed with this book, and I want to thank the committee that chose it for the students to read. I hope as the students read this book and they think of the terminology such as crossover that is used as a basketball terminology, but they will use this in their everyday lives, because all of us, no matter what our age, we have crossovers. And I want to just thank the committee for choosing this book. I also purchased a discount ticket from the James M. Bennett High School Band Boosters. And along with Mr. Palmer, I had the privilege of giving the diplomas and congratulating the students at the evening high school. And as I looked out at those 17 students that were receiving their diplomas, I just remembered our catchword, if we want to use that, imagine. And I could imagine the dreams that all 17 of these young people had. And I was so glad I had a chance to share in this. I read to Mrs. Crystal Jones's 5th grade class at Pittsville Middle School, and I want to share with all of you the thank you notes that I received from Mrs. Jones's class. And I have them on my cocktail table at home, my coffee table, so that people that come in my home can see them. I attended the Rock and Roll Review at Bennett, and I also have the books from the Kappa Delta Phi Education Honors Society at the sorority at SU, and I'm having fun. What I'm doing is quick reading the books so that I can put notes in there that are concerning the different books. Now, I want to put a plug in for the Student Art Show, which is going to be at the Ward Museum of Wildfowl Art. The reception will be from 5 to 7 p.m. on Friday evening, February the 22nd. For the last few years, we have averaged at the Ward Museum over 500 people for this reception. And this year, we've taken it out of the small welcome gallery, and we have put it into the prestigious LeMay Gallery, which is our major changing gallery at the Ward Museum. And so I hope I will see a lot of people from Wicomico County there. I've had a nice month, Mr. Mullen.
Thank you. Sounds like you have. Good.
Oh, I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
Okay, to begin with, I guess we're about halfway through the school year, and even though we have had a number of ills to plague our school system, because it really starts in the community and sooner or later finds its way into the school system, but I think as a school system we kind of weathered the storm, and I feel confident that we will continue to do that. I guess people don't really think about all that we have to do in terms of the people that we have to employ. When you stop to think about the first person that a student interacts with is the bus driver. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes, that's a pretty big task that Mr. Desmond and his staff have to do, is getting good, competent bus drivers who have a compassion for kids. And on many of those buses, we also have the aides that help to work with them. And then when the kids get to the schools, then, you want them in a clean environment. So you're looking at your custodial staff, food service for the meals, and the support staff into the office, and administration staff to kind of run the school, help run the school along with the teachers. So all those things together, it's almost like a wheel with spokes. If all those spokes are nice and tight, the wheel runs smoothly. If any one of those spokes are loose or missing, things are not going to run as smoothly as you really would like them. So I want to just say kudos to all the individuals who work in the school system, do things for our kids to make it an enjoyable, rewarding day for each one of them. The other thing I want to say is that we want to continue to do things to put us out there in the community. Our Rotary Club this year, I'm trying to get them more involved in the school system, so we have the Teacher of the Year come to speak to our Rotary Club next week. And if you have organizations or things of that nature, think about having that person come, because they're a good spokesman for the school system. Our superintendent did an excellent job in her State of the Schools to the business community, and they seem to be very appreciative. And I think they've gotten on board more now than ever before. And I think we want to continue along that path to make sure that they understand the needs and the plight that we have, trying to do all that we can for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Murray?
Well, I did ask to go last, so I've learned a little lesson here. Everything I was going to talk about has been covered, so I'm just going to briefly hit about it a little bit. First of all, I would like to tell you it's wonderful to have you back and continue with thoughts and prayers of good recovery, speedy things. Secondly, with Mr. Gosley recently passing as a school board member, I had the pleasure of talking with him different times, and I know his heart was in this school board and for our safety and things. And truly, my thoughts, as well as everyone else's here on the board, are out with his family and things of that nature as well. We will greatly miss him. I had the opportunity, since our last board meeting, I attended one of the plays with all the high schools involved called The Clue over at Y High. It was excellent. I enjoy our students and seeing and being a part of what they do and things, and I really enjoy and cope too myself, as with your mission, Dr. Hanlon, that someday we have a school of the arts, because we have a lot of talent in this county with our students. The other thing I was going to talk about also, I think, Dr. Rand, you really touched on that too, is we are halfway through our school year, and each day is always a new venture, avenue, and a challenge to all of us, and no matter what we do. We are very fortunate to have the schools, the staffing, the people, the parents, and the community businesses that we have in our area. And I know we're going to continue and with a positive approach, and that is what we have to look at and be positive. We do very well here in Wicomico County. I recently attended a meeting in Annapolis with MABE, and it was interesting. There were only 4 other counties there at that meeting that I attended, but it's always interesting to hear things that are shared throughout some of the other counties, and although a lot of it was money and funding and things of that nature. So, and that in closing, and I want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. So we adjourn in so I have 15 minutes. Is that? No. So over the last month, I had a busy month. I'm also chairman of the Habitat for Humanity in Wicomico County, and I attended several functions with Habitat. Along with Dr. Hanlon, I attended the chamber installation of officers. I was in attendance and had the privilege of introducing Dr. Hanlon at the State of the Schools, and our company was very proud to be a sponsor of that for Shore Federal. Along with, I think, Mr. Alke, and I know Mr. Ford was at McCain's Economic Outlook last week, which is very eye-opening to look at the comparisons of the various counties, and it brings into perspective this time of year, budget time, what Mr. Reed and Mr. Ford bring to us in terms of numbers, wealth, etc. So that was very interesting. Rock and Roll Revival is on my calendar for Thursday night. I haven't been in a couple of years, actually, but I've heard that it's another fantastic event, so I'll be there Thursday night. And then the highlight, of course, is always being in the schools with the students. And like Ms. Satowski, I read, and I think Mr. Murray was also at Pittsville, and I read a book of Molly Brown related to the Titanic, of course, and the students have been studying the Titanic. Of course, I picked that book by accident, and they were all excited about it. But I always go off script and ask them if they have questions for me, and they told them I worked at the bank, and could they come see the vault? Could they tour the vault? Well, of course. But that is really, and Mr. Fitzgerald says it a lot, that's what it's all about, is when you get to go in the schools and you sit there and read or sit on a stool and they're looking at you and they're full attention on you for like 15, 20 minutes. It's just amazing. And it's, at times like that, it makes me wish I'd been a teacher instead of a banker, because customers don't always pay you that kind of attention, right? That's just adults. But it's a wonderful experience, and I'm going to Mrs. Cherie Drucker's class later on this month. I can't remember the date, March 1st or 2nd, to read again. That is just a great opportunity. But to wind it up, that it kind of what all my colleagues had said, we should be very thankful for the school system we have. We should say some positive things to our colleagues and friends. We're all held accountable for our jobs. But recently I've attended far too many funerals, people who've left the earth way too soon. And we should tell the folks that are here with us now how much we appreciate them and how much we appreciate what they do, because life is short and life is precious. So go out there and do your jobs like you always do them well, and we do them knowing that this board up here appreciates what you do. Thank you for being here today, and with that, we're adjourned.